What's going on? My name is Darwin Kelly. I'm here with Miss April, back again for the second sit down. First one, we both received an outpouring of support, and we wanted to double up since that's what the people need. We want to feed them. How you feeling?
I'm good.
Yeah,
I'm good. Busy, but good.
that's good. So it's March, Women's History Month. I think it's only right to start talking about women college sports. So my question for you is, what are your thoughts of the direction of women college sports today?
I love it. I love that women are starting to get the accolades that they've always deserved. I think that they've needed it from the jump and just didn't get it. So I just really feel like it's the time. Time's been needed, and I mean, no time like now.
So women's college basketball has been growing in recent years, accelerating. My question for you, like, what other women's sports do you see that could be on the rise?
So obviously we started this with the topic of football. Flag football is up and coming. As you know, like they've already started to do some stuff with Team USA. They're going to be in the Olympics, big time for them, 2028. Also, I think women's soccer, volleyball, they're all, I think, on the rise. But if I have to say, like, one of the biggest growing is probably basketball and flag football and soccer.
Nice. Yeah, I did see where that's going to be an Olympic sport. Flag football is going to be an Olympic sport in
2028.
Yep.
So, excited about that.
Yeah. So, in regard to NIL, what challenges do women face in that area that like male athletes probably don't encounter?
Come on now. Women have always had the challenges that men don't have. We've always been the last at everything when it comes to being promoted at work, when it comes to being acknowledged for certain things, having to work twice as harder, I feel like, in what we do to even get that acknowledgement. So I think that women are always going to be a little bit behind men when it comes to any of it. Obviously, you see a lot of people that are now starting to latch on and give them brand deals and NIL and stuff because they see the passion that they have and they see their work ethic is just as big as men, or young men, I should say. And just seeing that people are also coming out to see them. It's not just the men no more. They bring the crowds just like everybody else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So staying on that topic of NIL, like we both know how important like having a brand is, whether you just a regular person or athlete.
Right.
But especially for an athlete. So my question for you is like, what's the importance of an athlete having a brand, and like when should they start?
I think it's really important, especially because it's just like when they go to the league, whether it be the NBA, WNBA, NFL, on to the bigger and better after collegiate. They want to be able to also get these brand deals for the extra opportunity. So I think now with you being able to brand yourself at a younger age, obviously athletes are starting to get paid in some states in the high school level. I think you start gearing yourself up for that, at that age, and start really learning the ins and outs of what it is to even brand and or market yourself.
Yep. So what common mistakes do athletes make, like when it comes to like their brand?
I think one of the most common mistakes to athletes doing this is they think just because they have a lot of followers and by them just posting that means that I'm more liable to get a brand deal, when that's not the case. If you're not putting it out there, say for instance, let's use Prime, the drink, or Snickers bar, like if those are things that you like, how are brands supposed to know that if you're not marketing that on your pages? You're just, basically posting pictures in front of cars or in all of this fashion. If you want to be someone who targets fashion, you love fashion, then obviously the right thing to do is post your fashion, the brands that you wear the most. If you eat Snickers every day, like that's a smart thing to do, is post that you eat Snickers every day, because whenever these brands go back, they can look at your profile and they can see that, like, man, this guy posted us 100 times in the last month. That's somebody they want to work with, someone who truly enjoys their brand and who is not really per se faking it, and who can sell it to their to the people who are watching them, so their audience.
Yeah. So with the rise of NIL, I see like players aren't just amateurs anymore. Like it looks like a professional structure, like the way everything is set up now. So my question for you is, do you think players have the right to unionize? And if so, why or why not?
I guess my question would be, so does it?
You said
So some would say that the structure looks like that, but I think a lot of people that say that would look more so people looking from the outside in. They're not, they're still treated the same way, right? They still have the same schedule. Nothing's changed besides them being able to be paid. Now, do I agree with it? Yes and no. I think that they could benefit from it just because obviously if they unionize, they're technically an employee. They can at that point get insurance benefits and a little bit more freedom to speak. But I think that also it could be repercussion. Haven't you ever seen people who speak up in the workplace and still get treated badly, or still get some type of consequence, or is left out for a job promotion because you were a little bit too freedom of speech? So I think that it could help them in some aspects, but then I think it could also hurt them. And then from what I know, I wouldn't want other athletes to be cut out of being able to play the sports they love or anything like that just because you unionize football or you unionize the athletes that are getting paid, because they just don't bring in enough money or their program is too small. So then that means they get cut, and then they're just stuck to just, okay, I don't get to play at the next level and kind of have to just be here to go to school. So I don't like that aspect of it. And then I think it just scares me because I think anybody who's worked in corporate America can tell you that there may be been a time or two when you thought, hey, I have this open door policy, and you said something and you definitely felt the repercussions from that.
100%. That's a valid point. It's a valid point. I've seen like universities and like their personnel and staff like be strongly opposed to like not classifying athletes as employees. So, and I'm just curious. Like I'm a curious person. So my question for you is, why do you feel like colleges like oppose not classifying athletes as employees?
I think costs would be a big one, because they're already going to go to a new system where a lot of the NIL is going to come from the school. So I think you have to think about now, if they become an employee, if they have to provide insurance, if they have to provide 401k and all these things, now the cost goes up. And then the chaos, the uncertainty I don't think that we have figured out NIL completely yet. And I think to throw another brick into the pile would just cause even more confusion. Like, these kids are just getting their feet wet, and so are the colleges. And then now a new stepping stone is coming in the summer. And it's like, if we can't even get past that, we've got to figure all of this out first, right? And then we can decide in a year or two from now, whenever it's going smoothly and everything has been figured out, if that's something that we want to do. I think it's already caused so much confusion. So many kids, like we said on our the last time we talked, a lot of kids are already just going in the portal because of NIL and things like that. So I think to add to the fire, I think a lot of schools just don't want that just yet.
But so like my personal opinion, like I think NIL like has given players leverage to unionize, because like back in like 2013, 14, 15, I think like Northwestern football team, they took a shot at that, and it didn't go anywhere. But like here we are today, like fast forward like 10 years later or so. So it'll be interesting to see like how that plays out.
Yeah, for sure.
Moving on. So student athletes have a lot on their plate, you know. They got academics, their sport. So my question to you, like you're hands-on with players in schools today. So like, do you think universities are doing enough to support their athletes' mental health?
I don't think that there's just one person who can support that.
Right.
Are they doing enough? Possibly. I think they're doing what they can. But when it comes to mental health, that spectrum is so big. And I think that it has to be, just like we say you have to have a village to support these kids in life and in sports and education and just everything. I think that in order to be successful, in order to be successful with this, just like anything in life, we need our friends to help us when we're down. We need social life to, keep us breathing and happy and alive, and, just feeling like we have some sense of normalcy. You just said you're an introvert, I'm an introvert, but I will tell you that being alone all the time, even though that's what I choose and I like, can sometimes get you in a different mindset. So I think that you need, that balance.
Bad or good?
Bad. I mean, think about, going through a surgery and no one checks on you. And you like it that way, right? You just like to be by yourself, but nobody checks on you. It gives you a whole nother, not really outlook on life, but it does have you thinking some type of way. Like, damn, like I've done all of this stuff. I've been there for 50 million people, and like not one person has checked on me. But you're also that person that's like, I like being by myself. I like, which I think is 100%, introverts are like that. But I think that, you need your people. You need, whether it be your family, your best friends, people you consider your sisters, your brothers, your kids, like to all pitch in when it comes to those things to help you. So I think that the schools are doing the best that they can. Obviously, they have a lot of athletes, and you can't put everyone's mental health on, 10 people who are hired to do that job. That's just a lot, because that person is already taking care of their personal life, taking care of their at home, their social life, their kids' stuff. And then they come to work, and yes, that's their job. But again, 10 people can't handle that many athletes. So I think that they do the best that they can just with what they're given. And again, there are a lot of people who don't even tell people they're having issues. You know, they'll go to workouts, they'll still come to a game with a smile on their face and laughing, and they know how to hide it very, very well. So a lot of times people say, like, I wish I would have known, or I wish, you know, I could have seen the signs. But sometimes people, like, especially like us, that know how to hide those signs because we are so to ourselves and introverted, we don't give those signs. Nobody would ever know because that's just our typical day-to-day. So I think they're doing the best they can with what they have, for sure.
Yeah, I got that. So what can athletes do for themselves, like, to preserve, like, their peace, their sanity, if they're not getting it any elsewhere? Like, what can they do, like, for themselves?
I think just keeping a peaceful mind, a mindful mind of what triggers them, what doesn't trigger them, things that make them happy, things that make them unhappy, things that they don't want to tolerate. Like, they have to have boundaries. Boundaries are so big that I don't think a lot of people, not just athletes, people, human beings in life, like, don't understand that regardless of the person you are, you have to have boundaries. Like, without those, there's no way that we're not gonna stand bothered or, you know, not be mad at something or allow things to get underneath our skin, because it does.
Yeah.
Because you allow that stuff to even into your life. But once you find out those things, I think those are the things you eliminate in your life and you just stay away from, because it helps to keep that calmness in your life and that peace in your life. And if you find, like, a good group of friends who are that peace and that balance for you, keep them close to you.
It's a fact. It's a fact.
Yeah.
So two things that come to mind for me to answer that question, like, boundaries is extremely important.
Right.
The other thing that comes to mind to me is, like, a person got to learn to, like, listen to their body. You know, like, it may be like you got a headache, or it could be any physical symptom, but that could be, like, what's coming to the surface, but something underneath that is pushing that. So, like, just being able to, like, listen to your body, because, like, some days, like, we want to do everything, but, like, some days we just need to slow down.
Yeah.
And my other point is,
I agree, like, 1,000% with that. Sometimes it's okay to just breathe.
for sure.
Yeah.
And my other point is gratitude. I think just slowing down, where, like, you could, like, reflect and be like, damn, like, I got a bed to sleep in, I got hot water, I got food, I got people, I got a support system around me, I got things moving in the right direction. Like, it's gonna be okay. You feel me? So that's that.
More so, like, being in the moment.
Exactly, like, being present instead of, I'm glad you said that.
Yeah.
Instead of worrying about, like, some stuff you might have messed up on, got a bad grade, didn't missed your assignment on the play, like, just being present, being grateful for, like, where you are in that moment, because, like, a year, if you reflect, like, a year prior, like, you overcame a lot of shit along the way.
Right. The progress is real.
For sure.
Yeah. I think that's really important, is to always be in that moment. Because, like, I always tell people, you can't worry about what you can't change. So if it's something that you don't like and it can be changed, change it. And if it's something that can't be, why worry about it? You just have to think to yourself, like, if I'm ever put in that position again, how do I fix it?
And that's important. Like, learning from the lesson, like not repeating that same mistake, because
Right.
if you don't learn from it, then that shit is gonna keep repeating itself in a different form.
Exactly.
In a different form. That wraps up another episode of NIL Fridays. As you see, we out here
DK and AP.
serving the gospel. You know, you want to tell them how they can find you on your social medias and stuff?
So don't do Twitter. I don't really understand it. Like, I've had someone try, but my Instagram, again, is she_is_her_mama_a. And then Facebook, obviously, my first and last name, April Loya, Loya.
Bet. And you can find me on social media, Darwin Kelly, DARWYN, Kelly Kelly. Oh, that's on Facebook, Twitter,
And
Instagram, all of it. TikTok, Twitch, all of it. But before we conclude, April has a birthday coming up in a couple days, so we want to wish her a happy birthday, and hope you have fun on your trip, and you get a chance to slow down and take in the moments.
Yes, I will. I will be living in the moment, for sure.
That's a wrap.